I don't know why, but I just climbed up a tree. I'm pretty high up off the ground right now, giving this interview. David and Susan introduced me as Alex the Architect, and the first thing Lily said was, "I like pigs." So you might expect her response to be her name, but no. I eventually met Eli and found out his favorite movie was Avatar, which majority of what you see on screen isn't real. It's all computer animated, but it feels real. So back to where I am, up in this tree. I'm actually not up in a tree. Um, I'm actually in my car right now. But didn't you imagine I was actually up in a tree? You probably had a very vivid picture in your mind. And was it any less real? Mr. Rogers was a show I watched when I was growing up. Every time he would come home, he would do the same exact thing. At the start of his show, he would take off his jacket, take off his shoes, and then his show would start. I think there's some importance to that. So the first thing that you see when you drive up to the house are the garages. And actually the first time that I drove there, I actually drove past the house because of that fact. You really couldn't see where you're supposed to enter. So with the new design, I've taken a lot of the shapes that you see and just simplified everything. So that you know this really isn't the place to enter, you still have to look for it. The positioning of the house also doesn't really grab your attention from the street. With the new design, the positioning is a lot more dynamic. There's aspects of the design that are angled, that catch your attention, and sort of signify this is where you enter. Another thing that I noticed was that there's no way actually to get from the street to the main entry door. You have to walk up the driveway, and then after that it's still sort of hard to find your way to the front door. It's sort of wrapped behind a part of the structure. So with the new design, I have a set of stairs that go from the road to the door, and they're angled, the positioning of them. So that's another thing that again grabs your attention and takes you right from the street to the door. The front has very large trees. I played off the repetition with the new screening and created a correlation between the trees and the verticals of the individual screen posts. There's also a ramp behind those screen posts that you can walk up to the elevation of the front door. The idea is to have more of a creation space, so it captures the essence of a treehouse, which is basically an empty box that allows people just to do whatever. At the front of the house towards the street, I extended part of a retaining wall that's actually integrated into the entry steps. I extended it over to the end of the cul-de-sac and put a bench there for the kids, because I've noticed that they do a lot of activities in this area. So talking about the existing recreational space, how the house was built and how you would actually foresee children using it, you'd think, yes, they're going to play in the front yard, they're going to play in the backyard, but what's the reality? And what we see is the reality is that they actually use that front street a lot, the cul-de-sac. So why isn't that designed as part of the house? So this is the existing floor plan. As you can see, it's pretty segmented. There's poor views to the exterior. This is the new interior floor plan. It's much more open and connected in the public spaces. It also has increased sight lines to the front of the house, to the street. I think this is even cuter than a bunch of kittens playing with a ball of yarn. Yeah, that's right. That sounds right.